Hi there. If you want to learn how to create sound effects, you are in the right place. In this video, I'll be showing you how to create that loop box sound effect that we just heard. I'll be showing you the sound sources that I use, the plugins and effects that I use to process them and put everything together to come up with the final product. So with that said, let's get into our project here and get started. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and as I was listening to this part of the game audio for the sound of the box opening, I had 4 elements that I really wanted to focus on and kind of make the core, the base of my redesign here. And those 4 were the latches, the impacts, the wind, and the tonal elements, which you hear towards the end of the sound design. So let's go into each of these one at a time, and let's see how I created them. All right, so for the latches, these are like the metal clamps, the levers that are used to open the box. So with these, I started off with these like placeholder sounds. They're right here. And these are really basic sounds. They're basically just sounds from an instrument case that I was opening and closing, the metal clasps from that case. And I kind of just put them in there as a placeholder. So I did that for these here. And you'll see here, I have some snappy. These are just stereo. I'm using a stereo image to put one file here to the left, one to the right. And then I just had extra. So I think actually this one here is all on the left. Yep. And then these 2 down here are to the right. So it's making this wide image. So I was basically just taking different variations that I have of the sound, putting it together. And when we play together, you have this wide sound. All right. After that, I resampled it. So I brought it back out and I printed it down here. And then I brought it into Faceplant right here. And I just played around with it, added some non-linear filter, a shaper, and I might have pitched it a little bit different. But this is the sound I got at the end. All right, so we went from this here to this. Right, so it's very wide image, kind of like the original game audio. That's kind of what I was going for with that. After that, I had other sounds here. Right, I wanted something a lot more metallic. These are just from exercise hand grips, and they just have this cool metal sound. And I just put on an EQ here just to kind of clean up the bottom. Here, I wanted to have a different type of sound effect, something that was a bit more tinny or canny. So that's what these are here. Here, this is a sound. I think it was from one of my sound packs. It's just a design metal impact. So I kind of just stuck it in there. And then I had a few extra clicks at the end here. Right, so I think what really worked for this redesign, the specific redesign here, is that I was really working on and focusing on kind of having that cadence right, and then also adding extra stuff to fill in the gaps, especially here at the end. So if I take these away, you'll notice it feels like very empty. Right, if you have nothing in there, it feels very empty, which could be something that you're going for. I just wanted to try to fill it up a little bit. Maybe I didn't need this one, I'm not sure. Right, it sounds okay, but you kind of feel like this dead space, and I really want to fill it up. And I think just adding these extra clicks in there just really helped it. Right, it kind of sounds like the case is getting unlocked with a key or something like that. So yeah, so that's it right there. So with all of that, I just did a bit of processing. So if I take these off here, just the latches. Right, so those were kind of the metal pieces for this loop box. After that, we moved into our impacts. There's kind of 2 sections for this. I wanted to have kind of like this whoosh bass drop kind of at the beginning, and then of course you have the impact when the box opens. So let's have a listen to these. So right at the beginning, we have these 2 sounds here. Right, it's kind of like the box dropping onto the desk. So let's see how I did this. These are took from my Ultimate Whoosh pack and my Magic pack here. So this one here, this first one sounds like this with nothing on. Right, so it's a very designed kind of sound, and I just cleaned it up with a bit of an EQ. Enforcer here, you have a bass drop, and then a limiter. Which is not doing anything, but it was just in case it was peaking. Right, and then after that, you have this one here. This is more for the higher frequencies, the higher layers. So we have your bass, and then this one you have your mids and highs. Right, so that's that. After that, I had an impact sound here. The way that I created that was all inside of Faceplant here. So I took a recording from my oven. So it's just the me closing my oven door. So if I play with nothing on here, it sounds like this. Pretty basic. I added these effects here. Right, and OTT. Then I think I just pitched it down. Right, I reprinted it out here, and this is what I got. So that's how I got this impact here, and that was good. And then I still wanted to have something a bit different with higher end characteristics. So that's what this sound here is doing. So you have your lows, your mids, lows for this layer here, and then your highs here. And this is from my explosion sound pack. So together you have this. Perfect. So now with all the impact sounds here, that's it here. I just have a limiter just to make sure I'm not peaking. I don't even know if it's actually doing anything. I just put it on there as a safety. All right, so let's have a listen to what we have so far. All right, after that is a matter of adding some wind effects and wind sound effects. So I have quite a few of these. Some of these I took from sound packs, and some of these I took from presets that I made inside of Faceplant. So let's have a look. All right, so this first one here at the beginning, I want to have something that was kind of rumbling and kind of anticipating something big. So this is just a preset that I made inside of here. So I took this recording of an exercise bike that I have at my house, and I've just put it into Faceplant here. Added these effects. Right, so that's just the plain sound on its own. It's pretty quiet. I really wanted to boost it up, bring out the lows. So I got an OTT here. And you'll notice here I removed pretty much all the highs. Because again, this layer was just for the mids and lows. Added disperser. And again, uber loud to boost the lows. All right, so pretty simple patch right there. My next layer here, I had a winter storm sound effect from my ambiences pack. Sounds like this. So I was really looking for something that was a bit more tonal, that was kind of distinct. So I had a bit of that in there, and then it was just a matter of tweaking it with a bit of EQ. I think I just cut out the lows. Next here, I had two magical air whooshes here. These are both from my Magic 2 sound pack. And then here I want to add a bit more texture to the sound. So if I remove these three and I just play the air whooshes that we have so far, this is what you have, and see if you can feel like, see if there is something missing to you and what you would add if it was. So it sounds okay to me. I think it sounds like it could work. It could be fine. Here I added a few more textures, which was rocks that I was dragging around. And I also had a bit of freezing ice from my magic pack as well. And I think this is also rocks here, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, it's a paper bag. So I just want to add different textures that were a bit different, but could match and fit in with the kind of this cold element and the wind and the air. So something that could match in there. So if I play these three together here. Right, so they're just these different textures. They kind of don't really sound like anything much. Like they don't really stand out on their own. It's just an extra texture that's just part of the design. So now with all these wind sounds here, this is what you have. Right, and here I did a bit of cleaning up. That's not much here with Soothe 2 and with an EQ, and I did the same thing with the other patches here. Soothe 2, EQ, and a bit of reverb to put it in a space. So that's it for the wind. All right, after that we had our tonal elements, and for here I used Vital to get a lot of my to create a lot of these tonal sounds, and I actually did it in a really simple patch. So all I did here, if I turn this off here, is I started off with my initialized patch. It's just a saw wave. I came down here, I put it to harmonic stretch, I brought it all the way up, so you have this sound. All right, let me just turn off these effects. Right, that's the sound you have. Of course, I increased the release here. In the effects here, I did a chorus. Brought the mix down a bit, increased the depth a little bit, and then I had a filter just to clean it up. So you kind of get rid of that root note. Right, and that's how I created that, printed it out, brought it here. I pitched it down a few cents. I was just trying to match the original. Honestly, didn't really need to do that. I probably didn't even notice. And then after that, it's just a bit of portal just to add a bit of granular effect. So all together. So that is that sound. After that, then this is where we start to get into the musical aspect of the sound for when each of the rewards are being shown here. So let's start off with this first sound that I have. Again, I'm using Vital here. Same idea here with the harmonic stretch. I'll probably use the same patch even maybe. Yeah, pretty much the same patch. I think I brought the depth down a bit. Sounds like this. And before we keep going here, the idea with this one here, or what made it work, is layering things in octaves so that nothing is really playing in the same octave on the same notes. They're all playing the same notes, but in different octaves. So that's what really helped here. So you have that one here. After that, I have a glockenspiel here. These are all contact instruments that I used here. So if you can see here, this from here. And it's just playing the same thing here. I think that's the only time where these are actually playing in unison. Everything else is not. I have my piano there, violin. And I have a vibraphone here. So all together with these musical elements here. And then here you'll notice here on my bus processing, I did add some reverb to really fit it in the space, to really glue the items together. So without it, it would sound like this. It's okay. It sounds very dry though, not like they're playing together. That just really, really brings it all together right there. All right, so all together, this is what we got. All right, finally, the last thing I did, which was on a different version, so I don't have it here, but I did add a bit of shaper like this. I usually like to keep it really simple like this, and then like not very much, like maybe 1 dB, bring this all the way down to like 10%. So it's barely audible. And then of course I'm gonna have my limiter just like this. And if we play it now, right, I still want to keep my dynamics in there, so I don't want to squash anything too much for this type of sound, for this redesign. And this sounds pretty good to me, just like that. All right, so I hope you found this video useful and valuable. If you want to see another video where I create some magical sounds, I'll put them on the screen here. If you have any comments, questions, leave it down below. And just a reminder to grab the free pack. I'll have it in the description below if you haven't picked it up already, the Vital Wavetable pack. All right, so with that said, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.